Few votes at the UN General Assembly in recent years have been held in such an atmosphere of drama and tension as today's vote on the Trump administration's decision to recognize Jerusalem as capital of Israel. The U.S., bracing for what is likely to be a near-unanimous rejection of its policy, took the highly undiplomatic step of warning other countries not to vote against it. As you consider your vote, I want you to know that the President and U.S. take this vote personally. U.S. Ambassador Nikki Haley said in a letter delivered to dozens of UN delegations, including Canada's. The President will be watching this vote carefully and has requested I report back on those countries who voted against us. We will take note of each and every vote on this issue. U.S. President Donald Trump doubled down on the threat at a cabinet meeting Wednesday. They take hundreds of millions of dollars and even billions of dollars and then they vote against us, he said. Well, we're watching those votes. Let 'em vote against us, we'll save a lot. We don't care. Canada's former ambassador to the UN told CBC News the U.S. is likely to be opposed by a very, very significant majority. I don't know what the numbers will be, and the United States will be putting a great deal of pressure on its allies, but I think it's going to succeed only in isolating itself, said Paul Heinbecker, who served as ambassador under Jean Chrétien and also as chief foreign policy advisor to Brian Mulroney. Heinbecker said the Haley letter won't help. That's generally the kind of provocation that gets people to tell you to go to hell. And I suspect it will be in this case, especially since the person who's taking names is a president whose reputation internationally puts the United States standing at the lowest ebb it's ever been. It was Prime Minister Stephen Harper who changed the way Canada votes at the United Nations. His government's position was that there was too much focus at the UN on Israel's sins, driven by a large voting bloc of Arab and Muslim countries with an axe to grind against the Jewish state. In response, Canada would oppose all motions that singled out Israel for criticism. Although it hasn't trumpeted its support for Israel as much as Harper did, the Trudeau government has followed the Harper line. It has frequently voted with the U.S., Israel and a small coterie of Pacific Island nations, the largest of which, the Federated States of Micronesia, has a population smaller than Peterborough, Ontario. Last December, Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Japan, China and 162 other nations all supported a UN resolution reaffirming Geneva Convention protections to Palestinian civilians in the occupied territories. The Trudeau government joined forces with the US, Israel, Micronesia, Palau and the Marshall Islands to oppose it. It also voted against motions calling on Israel to respect the special international regime status that Jerusalem has officially enjoyed since 1947, even though Canada voted to create that status and it remains part of Canada's official policy. 2 weeks ago, Canada voted against a UN resolution calling for a halt to the building of Israeli settlements in occupied East Jerusalem.